What's going on, everybody? Zach from Imperium Racing here. Thanks for tuning in for another video. Today we're going to be going over all the tools I have, a little bit of a toolbox tour, hopefully dropping a little bit of knowledge on some tools that you do or do not need to spend a lot of money on. I have everything from Snap-on to Harbor Freight in here and most things in between. So hopefully you learn something from this video, or you just enjoy watching it and looking at tools, because that's what I've been enjoying recently. I have discovered recently the trend of toolbox tours on YouTube, and I just watch them, even though I don't really need any more tools, and I'm just watching them and enjoying them. And they're a pretty popular thing, so I was like, you know what? I have a lot of tools. Let's do the same thing. I saw the trend and I was like, wow, this is gonna get boring pretty quick. And then I watched like 5 or 6 or 7 toolbox videos and still entertained the whole time. So I guess that's just how us mechanics work. Anyways, I currently am at home with all my tools at home, and I'm actually going back to the dealer pretty soon in a couple of days. So in a few days, I'll be moving all my tools out of my garage, and that makes right now the perfect time to do a toolbox / tool tour before they all disappear forever. Hope you guys enjoy the video. I also got a handful of new tools that I'll do a quick little unboxing at the end, show you guys the cheapest stethoscope you can order, cheapest one you can buy, that so far I've had some luck with. So stethoscope and new tools at the end. I got tools over there, we got tools in here. Let's get rocking. So a quick background, if you guys are new to the channel and or you just don't know or understand why I have so many tools when I don't have a job, you might be like, why does this guy have tools? The answer is I spent several years at a couple of Mercedes dealerships, and then after that I did some mobile mechanic work for a little bit, and then after that I got a work from home job performing technical and diagnostic support for Hyundai, which is kind of cool, just working from home on the computer. Did that for a little over a year and a half. Benz dealer, mobile mechanic, working out of my car, work from home for Hyundai. Now I'm going back to Mercedes dealer. That's why I have so many tools. So to start off, I'm pretty happy with my current setup. So I've had all my tools at home for about 2.5 years now. That's how long I've been out of the dealership, which is crazy to think about. But I've only lived here since February, which is about 7 months. So when I moved in, I already had my toolbox and my fridge. And what I did was I positioned them where I wanted them, and then I built these workbenches in between. Starting from the end, we got the very first toolbox I ever bought myself, which is the cheapest one Harbor Freight ever made. It was like $200 for this, and a little guy with some drawers on top, which I got rid of. But what I turned this into, because it has wheels, this is a rolly cart, I turned it into basically my welding cart. So cheapest welder money can buy from Harbor Freight, which has served me very well. This cool grinder that's never been used that I got for free. And then it's just kind of my welding cart, got all my little sanding discs in here, sandpaper, welding stuff, more welding stuff, my metal shears, a fake cat, you know how that goes, some steel chains for the cherry picker, pulling engines out, wheels, those clamps. Under here is just more scrap metal and my welding helmet and all that good stuff. So it's kind of just like my welding cart, which is, I haven't welded as much as I want to, but pretty fun. I need to hone my skills on that. This welder I've used on 2 or 3 projects, and it's been great. In between that, we got our knee pad for getting down to business. This little Harbor Freight dolly guy that was like $8 that I have put so much heavy shit on, and it's fucking unbelievably strong. When I got this toolbox and unloaded it, I put it on that and gently eased it out of a moving truck that I rented. And I think empty the toolbox is like 300 or 400 pounds. That thing held up fine. Old drive shaft from the 4Runner. Obviously my toolbox with all the current projects. 4Runner parts, Integra parts. As you can see, that's being worked on. But yeah, so current projects, magnetic trays, paper towels, brush, level, magnetic trays, my DeWalt batteries, my flashlight, my big ass pry bar that does not fit In my toolbox, drill bits, Harbor Freight, power strip, lights, flags, TV, speakers. Essential to any garage is speakers. Got my gloves. These are my favorite gloves of all time. Harbor Freight, vise. So I built this workbench similar height to the toolbox so I can lay really long stuff across it, which is the reason I put this fridge as far over as I could with the length of the cord, is because I wanted one continuous workbench like I had in my old garage, which is really nice. Obviously the height is a little bit different, but it's close enough that if I'm working on something long, it fits. Had to drill some 4x4s that are 8 feet long the other day, and they fit across the whole thing, which is super nice. We got all of our random seals, screws, lock washers, bolts and washers, screws. These are all, well, this is from Amazon, but these are all Harbor Freight specials. Pens, a little spring pen holder, all the good stuff. That's me skateboarding, SEMA 49ers. Don't worry, we are going to go through tools. I'm just running through the workbench real quick. I think this is another Amazon purchase, but I'm a little fittings. Again, more fittings. A couple things that you should totally buy here if you work on your own cars. Some cool kits. These are all fuses. I bought a giant fuse pack, and then I bought these little guys off of Amazon and put my different size fuses in different containers. This is nice. I've used that. These are what you should absolutely have if you're doing any wiring repairs. A little bit of solder in the middle, a little bit of sealant on the edges, and it shrink wraps the whole thing together. Weatherproof, good connection, tight connection. You can get these on Amazon. They're 20 bucks. Highly recommend. This I used the other day. Just all the freaking connectors you would want. These two came as a kit from Amazon. But I mean, you can see the connectors there. I used a bunch of these the other day on redoing the interior on my 4Runner. The rear carpet and the trunk attaches to the back of the rear seats, and you know these clips are always broken on cars that are more than a year old. They're always broken, so super nice if you're working on stuff at home, especially if you have cars that are 90s or, I mean, even 10 or 15 years old. I'm sure all the plastic's broken, so super good kit. This is amazing tape to wrap a harness in after you repair it, and this is from the dealership that I got a long time ago, and I used so much of it that I finally found it on Amazon, because it's just this company makes it. It's the same one, but Mercedes, buys it and sells it to their dealers and everything. So if you want it, it's on Amazon, and it came as like a 5-pack, which is freaking awesome. This stuff is great. It's like electrical tape, but more like cloth, so it's a lot stronger. And it looks really professional if you are redoing a wiring harness or wire repair and you wrap it in that afterwards. Obviously, we got our fridge full of good stuff. My stickers, my logo. Over here, I built this specifically to hold my ridiculous amount of fluids. Leak trace, because this shit's amazing. The best thing for unseizing bolts, so if you don't have any of that, get that. Butane for refilling the soldering iron, I'll show you in a bit. Block test fluid for the block tester. Windshield wiper fluid, if you can get a squirt handle like this and put it on there, and it's great for finding leaks when you need a bubbly fluid. And over here I got all my coolant, lots of Integra parts back there. And then these are the remainder of my tools that don't fit in the toolbox, and they're things I don't use that often, so they kind of stay in the cases. Other than that, really just got our brake bleeder, air compressor, brake clean, coolant with all of the big old funnels. Over here we got all of our jack stands. Smaller ones, I got these 4 plus those 2 in the box, and then I got these big old 6-ton ones for working on my parents' truck, which I use for the 4Runner too, just because the 4Runner is really tall, so these don't reach anything on the 4Runner. And then my parents' truck's really heavy, so those are 12,000 pound. This little guy, dent and seal puller set. I had to get this for axle seals, rear axle seals on the 4Runner. It worked fucking amazing. I tried so many things to get those seals out and couldn't, and then I bought that from Harbor Freight and got them out in like 5 minutes after wasting hours. So that's cool. This is related to automotive. Heat gun. This is like 10 bucks from Harbor Freight. If you get it on sale, it's like 5. And I've used this a lot for years. I've had it since I started. So it's like 6 or 7 years old, and it's never failed me. Big old fan, Not really worth it, but it's kind of nice to get exhaust fumes out of the garage sometimes. She got some service manuals. I like collecting them, so I bought old ones, but it's the Integra one. My 4Runner and other Integra ones are inside. Spark plug grease, brake pad squeal, and then the rest of my random Mercedes fluids are hiding back here because I didn't have a use for them. I will now, but I didn't. These are moving blankets that you get from U-Haul when you move, and if you open them, you know, you bought them, you keep them. Fucking keep these, especially if you're working from home or if you're doing mobile work. These are great because you lay them down, and then if you spill anything, it doesn't go on the street or someone's driveway or garage floor, and you don't have to clean anything up afterwards. They also give you a little bit of comfort. I have one folded up under my toolbox over there that I use right now, and then once that's completely soiled and useless, I'll throw it out and pull a new one. They're also great for not scratching the shit out of your car. So I tucked this one under the hood. When I took the dash out, again, it's just a moving blanket. They're fantastic. It's like $10 for 10 of them when you move or something. So, oh, and these. If you're doing mobile work or homework, highly recommend these. I believe I talked Roman into getting these. 5-gallon jugs, you can get them on Amazon for like $12 or $20 a piece. One's oil, one's coolant and oil, and then you can take this to the auto parts store, and it's perfect because 5 gallons is the limit that you can drop off per day at the auto parts store. So they will take this whole thing. And then coolant, you got to take that to the city. That's the layout. Again, just built all these little wooden shelves, this one, that one, and this one. When we moved in, it was all just empty, and it's kind of worked out perfectly for this setup. Thanks for sticking around. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the fun stuff. If you got anything to add to the video, throw it in the comments. Otherwise, we're going to cruise through the tools in my box. I know this video is getting a little lengthy, but I like to go into detail about stuff. And again, I'm going to try and provide some context on tools that you do and don't need to spend a lot of money on. So let's jump through the box and we'll jump through the new stuff. All right, time to start with the top drawer. This little thing from Harbor Freight's pretty freaking tight. Just a silicone guy to hold your tools or nuts and bolts, parts, sockets, whatever you want. I actually use the shit out of this thing. Every single job I use that, and magnetic trays, which my magnetic trays are spread to the far winds right now. So up top, these two cases, I usually have the lids off of them. Super easy, you just pound the pin out. This one's plastic, you just pop it off. Is my 1/4-inch drive metric sockets. Obviously, they're gear wrench, which I love for sockets. 1/4-inch, metric, long and short. The short goes from 4 to 15, and so does the long. I freaking love these. I use a shit out of them. I've had these pretty much since I started at the dealer, and they're fine. I've had no issues. You can tell the tin is obviously more worn than any other socket, but use the crap out of them. Used them on my electric ratchet and everything. Highly recommend this set. This is something you should get starting out, and gear wrench is really affordable and really high quality. Mac Tools, got these on a deal. This set is pretty sweet. It is spark plug sockets, and I love these tools that come in cases like this because like these long sockets would be probably too tall to stand up anywhere, so I always leave these in the case, again with the lid removed. These I'm actually going to put on a tray pretty soon. I got another tray. Metric and standard, all the common sizes. We got swivels and we have deeps, and all of these have the rubber in there to hold spark plug. Only other thing I had to buy working for Benz is you gotta get the 12-point swivel long socket. I think this is like a 14. Mac Tools always had deals, which is why you'll see a lot of Mac stuff in my box. Snap-on, I only have a few things because they never had sales, but my Mac guys, especially first dealership I worked at, my Mac guy was great, and he always had deals, so I have a lot of shit from him. Snap-on wobble locking extensions. These things are amazing, and I would recommend spending money on these. They're kind of expensive. You're like, oh man, $120 for 3 extensions or whatever it is. These are fucking amazing. The best thing these are for is spark plugs, because spark plugs are the worst thing where you need to be able to grip it, pulling it out and putting it in. These are really nice. Had those for a long time. They're amazing. Snap-on, E-Torx. I don't use these a lot because I have a Mac set. I'll show you in a bit. The adapter set. This was a deal, and I got it with something. It's like the only Snap-on deal ever. It's got every adapter. Super nice. You can buy these sets from Harbor Freight. And to be honest, you should probably go with the Harbor Freight one because I barely ever use this. The only time I really use it is when you need to fit like a 3/8 socket somewhere but put an impact gun on it. Something weird like that. Doesn't really come up that often though. So it's a nice set. This set I have not really ever used because, again, I have a different set. So you'll see what's a better eTorx and Torx set. These are Mac, I believe. Impact 1/2-inch sockets. The big 1/2-inch impact stuff, I usually kind of go with a nicer brand because that means you're really fucking railing on something. And these are really good. Use the crap out of them. Really like them. Never had one break. Never had any issues. And they also have the little grippy guys in there. I don't remember what the name is for all these sockets. The fancy Flank Drive. Flank Drive, I think, is Snap-on, but it's basically the same thing. Grippy stuff works. In the back here, this is a really cheap, like, Harbor Freight rail, socket rail or something. And basically I have all of my standard sockets on it that I never use. And then I also have my 12-point sockets that are from my Craftsman toolbox that, you know, I started with when I was a child. And I keep those because every once in a while you need a 12-point for something. So I just keep them back there. I have an Allen set from Harbor Freight that I have. I don't really ever use Allens, so the Harbor Freight set was fine. The only thing is I had to buy a couple different sizes for, this is a gear wrench. This size didn't come in the set. I needed it for Mercedes. Same with this one, VIM, random size. And this was a stubby one as well, which was necessary for getting onto some differential drain plugs, fill plugs. A couple wobbles. I didn't buy a full set because I'm cheap, but these are 3/8 double wobble eTorx. And these two sizes are pretty common for some Mercedes stuff. So those are really nice. Didn't need the whole set, so I didn't buy it. And then again, the rest of the stuff is just my old like Craftsman sockets that just in case I need. And onto the ratchets. I have these gear wrench ratchets, which I honestly love. They are flex heads. And ratchets are something I think you should get quality ones. I really like these gear wrench ones. I'm only missing one because I melted it, so that's not gear wrench's fault. I melted that bitch. Be careful out there, guys. And they welded it enough that it obviously doesn't rotate inside anymore. So, and then I have my little Craftsman one just because it's short and it's not a flex head, so sometimes you need that little grippy. But other than melting that one, the gear wrench ratchets are really, really good. I've noticed that after using them for many, many years, they're starting to leak grease. There's a snap ring there, so I'm not sure if, I could take that cover off and re-grease it, or maybe have a gear wrench do that or something. I haven't ever tried. I really like this set. It comes with the foam insert to have them laid out beautifully. And I realized recently gear wrench actually makes a much larger set. But to be honest, I've really gotten everything done with this set. Large half, long 3/8, stubby 3/8, and then a decent sized 1/4 inch. It really does pretty much everything you need. So I think if you're starting out, get this gear wrench set because it's only like $170 or something. And it's got everything you really need to get started and go for a long time. But ratchets are something you should spend some money on. Don't get Harbor Freight. This Pittsburgh one is like so loose and it's super fucking annoying. So I'm gonna buy a new set of gear wrench pretty soon here. So go decent on these ratchets. Anything that's a 1/2 inch, go expensive because you're gonna put those on your impact gun. Adapters, go cheap. Breaker bar. I have the big old Snap-on 1/2 inch ratchet. This is for rotating engines over and stuff like that. Pretty beefy guy, and it came in orange. That was really expensive. That costs more than this whole ratchet set, significantly more. But I really don't use it that often, so I don't know if that was really worth it. This tray, Snap-on tray, this was a deal too, because I think it was like $50, which isn't terrible. And it's actually a huge tray. It's 5 rows, which that one's 4, that one's 4. I actually really like this tray. It's got little spots for extensions on the end, or ratchets, whatever you want. Pretty sweet. Another couple sockets I had to buy for random things. Otherwise, these are all Mac in the back. And I love these. These are wheel sockets. They have the protective coating so you don't scratch wheels. I love that about them. And I lost the one that I used the most. Obviously these standard sizes you can see look brand new, and then these 3 metric ones were fucking destroyed, and I lost this, so I bought a Harbor Freight one because all of my cars are 19 on the lug nuts and I don't know what I did with that. This is my Craftsman 12-point 1/2 inch drive. I just threw those on there. I don't really use them that often. And then this is my gear wrench set. of short and deep metric 3/8 drive. I use these more than anything. 3/8 drive, I got the impact ones because they're not bigger or anything from Gear Wrench. They're the size of a normal socket, but you have a little more peace of mind when you throw them on the little impact gun and everything. So I would recommend just getting impact sockets, and Gear Wrench ones are really good. They're very affordable. You can get a whole set, I think, of 3/8 and 1/4 inch probably, but obviously my 3/8 Gear Wrench and my 1/4 inch Gear Wrench I use more than anything else, and then sometimes the 1/2 inch Mac and the 1/2 inch Mac. So I probably have a lot less sockets than most people. I'm eyeballing some stubby 1/2 inch ones that I want, stuff like that, but really nothing else is really necessary. And you can see these are like Craftsman 1/4 inch, pretty thin. They're like the same size as the 3/8, like not even thinner or anything. So again, these are just in here because where else would I put them? But I just use those. Breaker bar, but it's not very long. But this is something you can put a really long pipe on, a cheater bar, and break something loose so you don't damage your ratcheting heads. But that snap-on one's pretty beefy. Moving on, finally. Wrenches. I got this for my tow hitch. To put the ball on my tow hitch, I needed a big old wrench. Other than that, snap-on, ratcheting, these are amazing. Use them all the freaking time. And they've held up great, so I would recommend that for the ratcheting side. However, for non-ratcheting side, I would not recommend snap-ons regular wrenches. I think you'll round stuff off. Instead, I'd recommend max wrenches, which, let me go to a bigger one so you can see. They have that little groove there that they say helps to not round bolts and helps to grip a little bit more, and I think it's true. I had power steering pump someone had once, and they tried all kinds of wrenches and sockets on it, couldn't get this bolt off, and it was stripping. And so I said, you know what, let's put my wrenches to the test. We went over there and we got it off with one of these. So I believe them. I've never stripped a bolt with those. They're great. I bought the whole set from 6 all the way to 32. They also come in these plastic things that make them really easy to store. So otherwise wrenches are kind of annoying. As you can see, I've kept all my wrenches in their things. So I love this Mac set. I got this on a deal where you bought like these two and you got the big ones for free. So that was great. Got these Mac thin wrenches for some brake calipers. These are fantastic. They're also really long. I bought these online. This is the worst tool I've ever bought. Shoot, I wish I remembered the brand. These were on Amazon. They were super cheap. And if you look at all of them, most of these holes are not centered. It's like that one's not. Some of them are really bad. Oh, that one's pretty bad. And they have no grip. These will just strip anything. To be honest, I don't know why I have them in here. I guess I need to get a new, whatever this kind of wrench is called. But these are so bad. Don't ever buy them. They're from Amazon. They were like $8 or $12 something. Gear wrench set of ratcheting e-torques. Amazing. These are super nice for the Euro cars that have like little bolts that are hard to get to. So those are fantastic. Super worth it. Again, snap-on. Adjustable wrenches, which I don't recommend use for anything at all, but I have them in here. This is for holding a fan clutch, but I got it for something else, and I can't remember what. Mac Tools oil filter wrench. Don't really use a lot for European cars, but it's fantastic for metal oil filters. This little bullshit doesn't fucking work at all. Not grippy at all, so don't buy one of these. They're terrible. But this is amazing. Mac gear wrench snap-on. Harbor Freight. This is like my screwdrivers and stuff. This is the e-Torx kit that I use more often just because it has Torx and e-Torx and these little non-ratcheting e-Torx wrenches. I just kind of use this one more often. I didn't really touch the snap-on one, but the snap-on one is similar. I want to say the snap-on sockets are slimmer though. So sometimes there's like an E10 or an E12. Oh, that's what it is. So the E10 and the Mac set is a 3/8 drive. The E10 and the snap-on set is a 1/4 inch drive, and you can see the fucking size difference there. So if it's something that's easy to get to, well, obviously just go 3/8, get all that torque on there. But if it's something really hard to get to, then you can use this tiny guy, which is obviously way fucking smaller, dude. So that is why it's nice to have both sets, and I think that's the only thing I use from the Snap-on set. Impact driver set, I don't really ever use this. I've tried to use it like once or twice. Make sure you got to go in the right direction. It does lefty and righty. That's just a random bit set with like all these little security bits and everything. I use a couple things out of there every once in a while. This I use the shit out of. I normally have this open in here, but again, I moved all my tools recently. This is the Max set. These are all magnetic tips, which is really nice. I've broken a few of them since I've been not at the dealer, so I'm going to get some of these replaced, hopefully real soon. And then these are just like the home construction #2 screws. Phillips and Torx and short Torx and short Phillips. This is amazing if you're working on European cars. Actually, even the Phillips are good for all kinds of like air filter, air boxes, intakes and stuff on all brands. So this is a great set. Again, this one's magnetic. So if you see like the Irwin one, it's very similar. That's not magnetic. And I had that set and I gave it away because it's the same thing but not magnetic. These are nice. Sweet set. These are just some Amazon crow's feet, which I almost never use. So I just went with like a cheaper brand. I've used a couple of them. They're fine. Crow's feet are kind of a weird thing to use. Don't really ever need them. This pick set right here is fantastic, and it's from AutoZone. So I would highly recommend this for a long pick set. And then my short pick set is like a Harbor Freight one, where I have like these medium beefy guys, big old thick ones. And then it also came with like the tiny versions of all of them. And then I had a giant jegs screwdriver set when I started out. So picks, I would say you don't really need to spend a lot of money on. People might argue like, oh, what if you break the tip off of a cheap pick? Then you should have got more expensive ones. Well, first of all, if you break the tip off, you're probably doing something you shouldn't be doing. And second of all, I don't think the difference in the tip here is going to make a difference. Like, it's still a small tip on an expensive one. So Harbor Freight, AutoZone, don't need expensive ones. Screwdrivers, I mean, you don't really ever use hand screwdrivers, so I got the Max set because it's orange. But in all honesty, you can just get this giant jegs set that has like screwdrivers and picks, because you're always using a gun if you work in a shop, because you have to be fast. And most things you can fit a gun into, so, or most things are sockets anyways, not real screws. You barely ever see real screws on cars. And if they're European cars, they're going to be Torx anyways. You probably go pretty cheap on that. This is a tool for clips, obviously body panels. A lot of people have this one. It's amazing. Highly recommend that. It's not that expensive. And then other than that, I just have like these like cheap Harbor Freight or whatever like sets. Oh, this guy though. This guy right here. This is amazing. Easy Red. This was off the Mack truck, but obviously it's not Mack tools. It's got a 1/4-inch drive on one side, and then, you know, the little bit for all those little guys, right? So you can put these kinds of bits in there. And they're both flex head with a lock, which is cool. This is amazing for getting into like weird spots with a little tiny socket or a tiny screwdriver bit. And you can do lefty loosey or righty tighty. So this is an amazing tool. I would highly recommend this. It's one of those tools that's just going to save you so much time for that one random thing that's fucking annoying to get to.